Well, hello. Thanks for joining me. It's David Beard here. I'm the Sage CRM principal. I work with product both technically and commercially to make sure it's as good and as ready as we can make it for our operating companies and all their customers around the world. Today, a very brief session, really, but I wanted to, on behalf of my colleague Jeff Richards, tell you about all the resources we have available that help you deliver the product. So the session is entitled, unsurprisingly, Useful Resources for Delivering Sage CRM. And the reason we have this session is Jeff and I fundamentally believe that a product is much more than just the product. It's the whole experience in helping you make sure it's a success in your company or the companies you work with. Because of that, we then look to make sure we produce lots of surrounding material in whatever role you occupy, technical or commercial, to help you make that delivery a success and make the usage of your product a success. Jeff and I have, over the many years we've been working on the product together, written many tens of thousands of words, delivered many hundreds, if not thousands of videos in webinars to tell the story and support people like you and the people you work with to do better with Sage CRM. And I wanted to tell you and show you a number of the sites and resources we have, because I think some of the time people use one or know about one, but aren't aware that there's a couple of others that might be useful as well. So let me show you where you might find all sorts of very useful resources in the next 8 minutes or so. Before I do that, I wanted to just remind you, and I'll build this slide very quickly, that Sage CRM is a tool that is designed and pitched at a place in the market where it's great value for money. It's very easy to deploy, very adaptable, but also very rich in the potential. And so the reason I have this slide here is to say to you, whatever role you occupy, either within one of our customers or with one of our resellers, Sage CRM can be delivered by all sorts of people. And if I look from the bottom up, reverse the bullet points if you like, almost anybody who can install any old software straight from the box can install Sage CRM and get it working pretty quickly for most customers. It's a very rich product, straight from the box, functionally rich for customer service roles, marketing roles, or sales roles, and everywhere in between. We have thousands of companies across the globe who use this product in all shapes and sizes. Some people call it selling tool, some people call it a service tool, and it can do most everything for most every company. Anywhere there's a front office technology need that joins up with a back office accounting or other systems implementation. And if going up the bullet point list at the very top, this very rich product, the ability to really go to town on it and use the programming and API levels to turn the product into something that can be, in many cases, unrecognizable from the original box product in a good way to support the most interesting of needs. And we have companies that are memberships, companies doing insurance. We have companies that are gyms. We have companies that run cemeteries that all use Sage CRM and have taken different approaches to deploying it. So the big takeaway here is anyone can install this and it works really quickly and equally can scale and morph and change to support you and your business next week, next month, next year. Let me show you around a few of the sites. First up, here is the Sage CRM community website. Now, for many years, Jeff and myself manage, and indeed still do manage, the Sage CRM community site. It's at community.sagecrm.com. And if I look at that website now, in fact, I'll flip my browser open and I'll come back here in a second. This is the Sage CRM community. So it's at community.sagecrm.com. There's no www in there, okay? And this is where a lot of our source documentation would live. Documentation around the product, what it does, how it works, system admin notes, user notes, those sorts of things. It's also where you might download recent releases, you might look up a knowledge base article, and so on. And right now you can see, of course, we're publicizing this very conference. There are also links at the bottom, usually sometimes elsewhere on the Sage CRM domain, but sometimes out to other areas as well, and I'll touch on those in a second. If I flip back to my presentation here, let's have a look at what else we've got. There's help. help.sagecrm.com. This is our main help site. And if I flip back to my browser and have a look at that, you'll see the URL is help.sagecrm.com. Here you will find release notes, hardware and software documents, user help files, system admin help files, and a whole bunch more, usually grouped by releases. So anytime you need documentation on the most current or old releases, come to help.sagecrm.com and you will find everything there. The help site is also accompanied or backed up by lots of video educational material. Now, in the early days, Jeff particularly did a lot of material that ended up on the sagecrm.com domain. With the rise of YouTube, the increasing capability of that platform, we've moved much of the education across there. And if I look at my browser here, like you see, I've just picked a standard random example of a particular video. This one's called Searching for Data. And what we've done, Jeff in particular has done, is created somewhere north of about 160 maybe videos over the years that explain all elements of CRM. How to find users, how to set up reports, how to get the workflow running, and everything else. And they're typically 10 to 20 minutes worth of user education. Bite size, you can drop in, consume that for free, and learn a bit more about a particular part of the product to help flesh out your knowledge. We've also got more generally what we call e-learning. Many years ago, we built e-learning in the belief that all boats rise on the tide, or that expression. In other words, we produced material free to consume to support different personas you see on the screen: technical, support, sales and marketing, and developer audiences. We wanted to be sure that you, in whatever role you were, could get all the education you needed to make CRM a success in your business or for your customers. To give you one example, I look after the sales and marketing stream. And what does that look like? Well, if I drop into the detail of that, you will see, if I go into Sage CRM e-learning and I look at sales and marketing, this is the material I have. Now, this is more typically designed for our resellers, but equally sometimes very useful for customers who are looking to help embed or extend their understanding of how you talk CRM to your own business. But you can see I've got material in video format about how to talk about CRM, how to talk about particular prospects, and how to present the product to them, right down to how to demonstrate the product and how to understand and respond if you're dealing as a reseller with a customer requirement. And there's lots of material there, and it's all in YouTube form. And as I alluded to earlier, we have different personas. So we have sales and marketing, that's me. We also have technical training. And this is where you'll see a lot of the work that Jeff does to explain in bite-sized education how to implement the product, how to use some of the fundamental parts as a user, and how to take maybe some more advanced steps. And they're all in bite-sized pieces, 10 to 20 minutes long, all on YouTube. But this is the leaping off point, if you like, the e-learning part of community.sagecrm.com. For the North American market, and indeed a focus of today, of course, is the Sage U site. If you're a customer or a partner with Sage in North America, you'll of course be familiar with Sage U. And we too have Sage CRM educational material on Sage U. You just need to log on like you would normally do and simply search for that material. And if I look, as I have logged on here, I've gone to a particular example course where there's a scheduled lot of training on WebEx coming up, implementing for Sage CRM 2019 release. And like all the other courses up here, it tells you who it's suitable for, what you will learn, and the topics within that particular course, and how to book and so forth. So that's all online training. So if Sage U is your destination for training, rest assured, there's lots of Sage CRM material for you as well in that site. And the idea is to bring all the resources you need together so that you're ready in whatever phase of deployment you are. Brand new, first time learning about the product, or gnarled old ASP, code monkey, blah, as I touched on the earlier slides there. And you need some specific guidance on the way an API works or particular example scripts to get a workflow running. It's all there in one place. And we want you to have all that resources. Doesn't matter whether it's documentation, example code, request for licenses, the data model, anything. We want them all available to you rather than locked away inside a Sage office where you have to make a special request for it. So always keep in mind all those sites. So community.sagecrm.com, help.sagecrm.com, Sage U, and of course, all the material on YouTube. Most of that, with the exception of Sage U, is free at the point of consumption. It's all about making sure you have exactly what you need to get on with your Sage CRM journey. Various websites with lots of material, wide-ranging blogs, commercial and technical, learning, commercial and technical, resources, commercial and technical, etc., to help you on your Sage CRM journey at whatever stage you are at and whoever you are in that persona. So I hope that's been useful for you. I hope now that you understand the breadth and the depth, of course, of resources that are available for delivering Sage CRM successfully. Thanks for listening and enjoy the rest of the day.